In this slide, we will go over the concept keep, change, and flip, which can abbreviate to KCF, and is very much like what the lyric on the side says, which dividing fractions is as easy as pi. Flip the second fraction, then multiply, and don't forget to simplify before it's time to say goodbye. So how does that apply to what we just did earlier? In this example, we are dividing a fraction by a whole number, and the example asks us to see how can 5 people share 3/4 of a pizza. So this question mathematically means to do 3/4 divided by 5 whole, which you can also rewrite 5 whole as 5/1. They are the same thing. And the first thing we can do is using what we learned in the last 2 slides by turning both into the same denominator. With 4 and 1, the common denominator will be 4. So we want to write 3/4 divided by a denominator of 4 by timesing this by 4. So we times the numerator by 4 to get us 20. Now we can divide the numerator by the numerator, the denominator by the denominator, which 3 divided by 20 is basically 3/20 as a fraction, because we don't need to simplify that to a decimal. So 3/20 in the numerator, and 4 divided by 4 is 1 whole, which again will just leave you as 3/20 as the answer. So again, how does that relate to keep, change, and flip? Let's take a look at this. The original question is 3/4 divided by 5/1, which if you observe carefully, to get the above expression, you're basically timesing 3 with 1 and 5 with 4, which will give you 3 and 20 right here. So this basically means I can do 3/4 times 1/5, and I would get the same answer, which is 3/20. And what we just did was to keep the first fraction the same, change division to multiplication, and flip the divisor fraction, which we can also call flipping as the reciprocal fraction. Before we do the last question, let's revisit the previous 2 questions and see how this works as well. In this previous example, we have 9 divided by 2/3, which is basically 9/1 as a fractional expression. If we do KCF, we would wind up getting 9/1, changing the operation to times, and the flipped fraction, which is the reciprocal fraction, is 3/2. We would wind up having 27/2. And again, that's exactly what we got in our numerator fraction. And this first example is 7/8 divided by 2/4. And to use the KCF algorithm, we have 7/8 times the reciprocal fraction or the flipped fraction of 4/2. Before we begin, you should know that 8 and 4 can be simplified further. To simplify them, I'll divide both by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now, you will multiply the numerator with the numerator, the denominator with the denominator, which will give us 7/4. And that's exactly what we got earlier, right here, 7/4. Which again will give us 1 3/4 as our final answer. So to wrap this up, how do you do the same thing with a mixed number question? The easiest way to begin this question is to turn them into an improper fraction. So that's the most important thing when you see a mixed number question. We do so by timesing the whole number with the denominator and adding it back to the numerator, which gives us 27/5. Dividing 2 times 4 plus 1 gives us 8/9/4. Now if you want, you can continue turning them into the same denominators and then dividing the numerator by numerator and the denominator by the denominator, or we can use the KCF algorithm, which is keeping the 27/5 the same, turning the division into multiplication, and then flipping, or the reciprocal of 9/4 is 4/9. Now I noticed that the 27 and 9 can be simplified, so I'll divide both by 9 to give me 1 right here, and divide 27 by 9 gives us 3. Now if you multiply them with the numerator by numerator, the denominator by denominator, you will get 12/5. And if you simplify that, this will give you 2 whole and 2/5 as your final answer. So to wrap this up, let's quickly write down what the KCF algorithm is. If you have a mixed number in your question, you should first turn that into an improper fraction. And then you keep the first fraction the same, change division into multiplication, and flip the divisor fraction. And of course, you should always simplify whenever necessary. Okay, once again, before I forget, the flipping mathematically means finding the reciprocal of the fraction. That's it for the lesson.